So I want to go over this interesting theory that I saw posted by someone on Reddit about what could be happening right now between the Packers and Jets when it comes to the trade that hopefully will happen at some point in the future. We know Rodgers intends to play for the Jets. We know the Jets believe Rodgers will be their QB. But still, up to this point, a trade has not happened. And with the draft coming up in about 2.5 weeks, that seems to be the first sort of deadline for when this trade could potentially happen by, just because the Packers would probably rather have picks in the 2023 draft so they can get their players right away. So there are some, questions as to why has this trade not happened yet? Are they really not on the same page? But I just came across this interesting theory, and I want to read it. You can give your thoughts in the comments down below. But this is posted in the New York Jets Reddit, and it was posted by Matt Damon Bot. So he says this: fan theory. The Aaron Rodgers deal has been done for over a month. The deal won't be announced until draft day. Jets will get the better deal, but one of Green Bay's conditions was to wait to announce on draft day so that it gets less media attention and creates confusion around draft choices. I expect a 23 and 24 second/third conditional. Maybe players involved too. Everything in the media surrounding the deal and leverage has been smoke. Now let me read this next part, and then I'll discuss this. So this is posted by someone else in response by Justin. It says, my theory is similar, but it has nothing to do with media attention. They have two trades worked out. One involves picks this year. Green Bay wants to see who is on the board before deciding. If they don't like their options, there is a backup trade for next year's picks. They can't announce a trade because the compensation package is not final yet, but there is an agreement in place. I find it hard to believe free agents would be coming here. JD would be speaking, Joe Douglas would be speaking about it so confidently if they were still negotiating. So this is an interesting idea. They both have sort of different reasons behind, why they believe this. But this idea that a deal is already agreed to in theory by both sides, and they're just waiting until draft day to potentially announce this or potentially to officially make this trade go through. And I do think this idea has some merit, just because when you think about, the Jets have been acting so much like Rodgers is full on their team. Obviously, he's not yet, but from the GM to the owner, all discussing, how confident they are that Rodgers will be their QB. It was either their owner or GM who said in the past few days, like, Rodgers is the QB for the Jets, basically. And so why would they say this if a deal hadn't been done? Maybe they just have the confidence that they'll come to an agreement, or maybe they actually already have agreed, and that's why they have this confidence, because they already know it's done. It just hasn't been enacted yet, which I think is an interesting idea. And I think when you look at the reasons for doing that, let's say, I was thinking about this too after reading these two things, interesting ideas, that, with the Jets having the 13th overall pick, the Packers have the 15th pick. There's probably certain guys at the Jets, if they have that 13th pick, would like to target. So maybe, let's say they had some kind of agreement that when it comes to draft night, the Jets will be sitting there with pick number 13. Let's say that it comes to 13, and the Jets guy, one of the guys, whoever it is, if they've already been taken, maybe the Jets will say, okay, you know what, we'll trade this first-round pick to the Packers, and I think they'd have to maybe add another second for the next season too, potentially. You can debate that idea as well. But let's say they're at 13, their guy's gone, they don't really feel the need to have that 13th pick, they'll trade that pick. But on the other hand, let's say at 13, they get there, there's one of the guys they like, they could decide to draft that guy there at 13, then they could say, in that case, we'll give the Packers our 2 second-round picks instead. So maybe, who knows how this could be, but maybe there's some kind of deal in place, and the Jets are sort of potentially looking at that 13th pick and deciding if they want to draft someone there, or, if they don't, they could trade the pick, and if they do draft a guy, they can give the Packers their 2 second-round picks. So I do think that this is an interesting idea, and as I've said, it has seemed like the reason that the trade hasn't happened is because both sides haven't come to some kind of agreement. And I do think that both sides do have, a lot of reasons to want to get this trade done. I have said I do believe that the Packers have the upper hand in this, just because they already do have their starting quarterback, and Rodgers is, still on their roster. Obviously, it'll help to get his contract off the books, and when it comes to, after June 1st trading him, the Packers will save like 25 or so million, just because the cap gets split up between 2 years instead of the 1 year. So that could be a reason to hold on if they wanted to free up some more space this year. But at the same time, you could just, if you trade Rodgers before June 1st and it's all done, and then in 2024, your cap is a lot more freed up. But at the same time, I still think that both sides do want to get this done. And so it has been somewhat surprising to me that it's taking so long. Because right after Rodgers said he intended to be traded, or he intended to play for the Jets, I assumed a trade would happen in the next day or so. But obviously that has not happened yet. So it could make sense if the trade has already happened, or like it's already agreed to and they're just waiting for it to be done on draft day. I think that there is a lot of reason to believe that could be the case. It's an interesting idea. I hadn't really thought of much until I came across these two fans posting it on Reddit. But it is possible still that both sides just haven't actually come to an agreement. It is possible that the Packers still want more than the Jets are willing to offer, which could make this go even past the draft. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, when a trade gets announced, we'll actually understand what has been going on, why everything has been going on, and why it's taken so long. And maybe we'll know the reasons. Maybe we won't. But we can obviously dive in and give our own opinions on that. But just wanted to share that. Thought it was interesting. Feel free to comment your thoughts, what you think is actually going on right now between the Packers and the Jets regarding this Aaron Rodgers trade. But that is all I have for this video. If you guys want to stay up to date with all Packers news, all Aaron Rodgers trade news, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. But that is all I have for this video, and I'll see you guys next time.